Leonard says, blondes have more fun. Today we're going to make Christmas cake. Not that disgusting fruit cake that nobody wants to eat, but a delicious, dark, fruity Christmas cake that's the topper to an amazing holiday dinner. And I'm also going to introduce you to the amazing personage known as Fanny Cradock. She was a British television chef, one of the first, from the 60s and 70s. I'm not going to say anything, but I recommend that you check out Fanny Cradock. In this case, cooks Christmas cake or Christmas pudding. You will never forget the first time you saw Fanny Cradock. So I am a major Fanny Cradock fan, and I collect Fanny Cradock things. And one of the things I found finally was this Fanny Cradock Christmas cookery pamphlet, which was 50p. And it is the most comprehensive Fanny Cradock document. So we're going to cook her Christmas cake recipe right out of this book. Fanny reminds us, she says, do remember that the uniform finished appearance of your iced and decorated cake depends upon the initial neatness and smoothness of the oiled papers with which you line the tin. So we're going to do that right now. I like to use 2 small tins. They have to have a high side, but I prefer small tins. I think it makes a nicer looking cake. However, you can use a 9-inch or 8-inch cake pan as long as it has a high side. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is oil the bottom of this pan pretty thoroughly so that the paper will stick to it, like this. Then you're going to take a pre-cut round that I cut last night after a few wines. Put it in the bottom. It should stick pretty nicely to the oil. And then I'm going to take a strip of parchment about yay high, and I'm going to put a little bit of oil on it. Or as Fanny says, properly placed oil is better than too much oil. So you're just going to wipe some oil on it, is just perfect amount. Then you're going to take your pan, oil side out, and you're going to stick this. Don't worry if it doesn't stick. And then my parchment paper is pre-cut, so I had to make an extra piece. And then you're going to go like that, so that it looks almost like a souffle tin. Do you need to use the paper? If you have a non-stick pan, I don't know. Fanny tells you to use the paper. So we're going to use the paper. Now, this cake has 4,000 steps, but essentially it's very easy. It's like a lot of things in life, but it does have a lot of steps. The first step is you're going to cream the butter and the sugar. So you're going to take a stick of butter and about 8 ounces of soft brown sugar, which you have to go out and buy because the one in your cabinet is like a brick. So go out and buy a new one. So you're going to take some softened butter and you're going to beat it very well indeed. That's literally how she writes it in the book. I'm going to put a little bit of extra butter in. Don't ask me why. And I have 8 ounces of soft brown sugar. Pow. Or ta-pow if it's in the 80s. Bink. Okay. Bowl number 1 complete. Into the flour, you're going to put some of these spices. Fanny says a level teaspoon, which is a lot of ground cloves, so I don't do that. This is cinnamon, so you're going to put some cinnamon in like that. These are the cloves. I can't imagine putting a teaspoon of this in here. Woo! So I put a little under a teaspoon. Ground ginger. And the old friend, ground nutmeg. Now your kitchen's going to start to smell like holiday. So then you're just going to kind of mix this in, make it so it's, kind of incorporated. Now we're going to put the liquid ingredients all in one bowl. The liquid ingredients, I'm literally reading this out of the book, is 3 eggs. So I'm going to use 3 1/2 because these are quite small. You all know about the half eggs, right? We did that in flourless chocolate cake. Give me a break. So I'm going to kind of put a little extra egg in there. No bigsy. I'm putting the juice of one orange, the juice of one lemon, and the zest of both of those fruits in here. And then we're going to put a ton of booze in here because it's Fanny Craddock. Marsala, this is sweet Marsala wine. I'm going to do a little more than they say because I don't have port. Pow. We're going to put a little bit of brandy. Oh yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Woo! So this, for your sober friends, this will be cooked out. And we're going to whip those together. Ready? Oh my God, it was on! Just to mix it. Looks disgusting. Now you see, we've already made this humongous mess. And now we're going to mix the cake. Are you ready? Fanny says you must use your hand, which she literally does without a glove on it, with rings and nail polish. Glove, I'm going to doing it. My hands are clean and I don't have nail polish on, but I'm doing it because it's pretty gross. All right, so here comes the fun part. Fanny says, add the dry ingredients by the handful with drips from the liquid mixture. Work up with a well-scrubbed hand until all wet and dry ingredients are very thoroughly mixed indeed. It's going to be surprising. Here comes some walnuts. Let's put a little flour in, shall we? Oh my God. Put a little liquid in. A very well scrubbed hand, you know. A little bit more flour. This is a fruit cake, quote unquote, mixture from King Arthur Flour that is pineapple and raisins and currants, and it's lovely. So I'm going to put some in there like this. Let me show you what this looks like right now. Fanny would be very proud. A little bit more liquid. So it actually makes a kind of a liquid, don't be scared is what I'm saying. It'll seem a little loose, but it will firm up. We're going to put in some glacé cherries, but I use beautiful cherries that are actually sour cherries that I've soaked in the juice from these beautiful Italian cherries. So they're like wet, dry cherries. I'm mixing those in. So these cakes, you can keep them for many months, wrapped tightly. And every now and again, you have to feed the cake, which we'll get to later after we've baked it. You have to paint it with sort of basically cake food. Look at that. Does that look familiar? It's starting to look more like cake. Why am I using my hand? No one knew. Okay, a little more flour, a little more liquid. Let's do some more of these and a little more of this. Don't do this when the boy is here, or the girl. Now, Fanny wants you to use two British ingredients called golden syrup and black treacle. Now, golden syrup is not replaceable by an American thing. You can get this on Amazon, and you can also get it from a decent baking store. And black treacle, I discovered through research, is really molasses. You can replace black treacle with molasses, but don't try and use corn syrup or something for this. She wants you to use an ounce of each. If you've ever tried to measure molasses, it's a pain. So look at something that's an ounce. I happen to have this cocktail jigger. That's an ounce. Pour this amount into your cake. What would fill that little jigger? But that's it. And this comes in a handy squeeze top. Don't buy the can, even though the can is beautiful. It is impossible to handle. So we're thinking about that little cocktail jigger, right? Pow. Okay, we're mixing that in. Okay, we're gonna fill our pan. Here's the awesome part. During the time that you've been making the cake, the entire tin preparation thing has been obliterated by falling apart. So this part's a little bit difficult because the paper wants to fold in. So you kind of have to hold the paper like this and get cake in there as quickly as you can before it does that. Now you see the cake is holding the paper back. That's what you want. Okay, a little bit more. So you want to fill it about that full, like that. If you see some nice cherries on top of your mixture before you fill your second tin, or if you're making one cake, yeah, you just want to put as much beautiful ingredients as you can. And this goes in the oven, 350. Miss Craddock will tell you that you'll know your cake is done when it stops singing. A quiet cake is a done cake. So this, she says 30 minutes, that's a crock. Okay, it takes longer than that. But we're just gonna put this in a 350 oven until it's done. You're gonna take your, I use 2 tins, you may use 1. You don't have to use the paper. I don't know if she had good non-stick, and maybe that's why there's this whole paper issue. The other thing is in her recipe, she has rose water and orange water. I don't care if it's culinary level orange water and rose water. I don't use it because I think it's disgusting. So it's up to you if you want to use that. These are my 2 cakes. I'm going to put them into the oven. Oh, they look good. They smell good too. And the batter is delicious, which is always a good sign. Listen to your cake, touch it, you know, pierce it with a stick. If it comes clean, said the actress to the bishop, it's ready. So now we're going to take out our Christmas cake. There's a little method to cooling it, which I'm going to show you. So take out your cake, and you are going to trim this paper, okay? Now when you do this, the little bits of burnt batter that were stuck to the paper are going to fall in your cake, as well as pieces of paper. You can just tip them out. Fanny tells us to do the following, and it actually works. She says, invert the cake in the pan and let it cool in the pan. So I do go like this, right? And then you let it cool just like that. Through the magic of television, I happen to have 2 Christmas cakes right here. So these are 2 cakes that I made after a few wines last night. And we're gonna talk about cake food. Now, I suggest when you watch this short that you make your cake for holiday dinner, whatever your holiday is, because it does benefit from a little bit of feeding. Usually it's fed with a sort of syrupy alcohol mixture, which also preserves the cake. But some people are sober, so they don't want to eat an alcohol-soaked cake. Basically, I'm going to show you the 2 different kinds of food. Flip your cake over because the top has a little bit more of a crust so that the soft underbelly of the cake is visible. And now I'm going to mix some alcohol cake food. This is not science. Pour in some rum. Actually, let's finish that. I'm making this up as I go. Putting in a little brandy. I don't know. I'm going to put a little bit of that golden syrup in. Why not? And then I'm going to use this Amarena cherries. These are very beautiful cherries in syrup from Italy that I use in a lot of stuff. We've used them on the show before. They come in a very incredible syrup. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour some of the syrup in. Oh, cherries went in. That's fine. Like I always tell you, don't buy the natural bristle ones. They break and the bristles go in the food and it's disgusting. Get the silicone ones. So I'm just going to mix that. And then this you keep in your cupboard. And every week or so, you're going to feed your cake. And here is me feeding the cake. Basically, I'm painting the cake. You don't want to overfeed it because then it turns into mush, right? You just want to paint it lightly all the way around. Some people put fork holes in so that the food goes further in. A really nice lady from Trinidad, I think, told me that they just use the syrup from the cherries with rum. That's it. So you're going to flip your cake. I'm just going to do a little light painting on the top. Okay, sober people or people who don't like alcohol-soaked cake. Alternatives. You can use pineapple juice with a little stuff in it. You can use white grape juice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little white grape juice in the pineapple juice. Be careful with white grape juice. It's a laxative. And I'm going to put a little bit of cherry juice in. I'm going to stir that. Oh, it looks like a tequila sunrise. And I'm going to paint the cake. I'm painting the cake. I couldn't wait to paint the cake for the cake's sake. Common sense. Just wrap the cake so that air doesn't get to the cake. That's all you have to do. So you can use cheesecloth, which is very fancy, and then tin foil and saran wrap. Basically, your only goal is that air not touch the cake. Please don't store it in a box with air around it, because it has to be wrapped. And I'm folding it like this, almost like I'm wrapping a precious gift. And I'm pressing in the tin foil on the sides. And now I'm going to wrap it again in another piece, the other way. And you want to make sure it's nice and airtight, like that, like a little beautiful present wrapped in tin foil. So you have to wrap them both quite tightly. The one with alcohol is preserved with alcohol, but the one without alcohol has to be particularly well wrapped because that can be ruined essentially by air. So wrap it good. And then you can put it in a plastic bag if you want, or you can, I would do another layer. Air is not the friend of this cake. And then on your holiday dinner, you take this out, put it on a cake stand, shake a little confectioner's sugar, even though Reggie doesn't like that. Do you, Reggie?
Nope.
You're going to put a little confectioner's sugar on top and bring it out. It's the most gorgeous thing. You can also ice it with fondant, which I hate. Or you can do, well, Fanny Craddock will tell you the fancier way. I like it just plain with a little vanilla ice cream. That's the bomb. That's how you make holiday cake. Please watch Fanny Craddock. You won't regret it. Lynn, come and smell my cake, said the actress to the bishop. This is Lynn, my producer. Happy holidays! She's gonna smell the cake to tell me if it's okay. Smell the cake.
Oh wow, that smells pretty good.
Oh, Leonard, you wanna smell the cake too?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna wrap the cake, and Lynn can take this one home if she wants. Smell it one more time. I'm not gonna push your face in it.
Smells really good. Pineapple juice is my favorite.
Yeah, it is. She does love pineapple juice. I'm gonna put a little pineapple juice on top here.
Thank you.
Of course.
Happy holidays, guys.
Fanny tells you to use the paper. So we're going to use the paper.